Hey everybody, what's up? Just Aaron here, Question Period Canada. A couple of glitches there. We're going to get right into a live question period from the Canadian Senate. I think it might be a fun way to spend Sunday afternoon. For me it is. And
I chose Wix for...
We're going to jump right in right away.
Période de questions, question period.
We missed my intro.
Senator Platt.
Government Leader, the Trudeau government never proactively revealed the consulting firm Accenture was running the CBA loans program for small businesses receiving $208 million in contracts. In June, the Trudeau government claimed Accenture had 125 employees in Canada and 4 in the United States who were working on the program. However, a recent answer to one of my order paper questions has led to the discovery that work plan on the loan accounting system for this program is in fact being done in Brazil. Leader, how many Accenture employees in Brazil are working on this program? Why has your government failed to provide this information? If you don't have the answer today, Senator Gold, do you commit to find out and let us know at your earliest opportunity?
Senator Gold.
Well, no, thank you for the question. And no, I don't know the answer to that. What I do know is that the programs to which you refer were ones that were designed to benefit Canadians, and I believe they did benefit Canadians, and I certainly will make inquiries.
Senator Platt.
Well, thank you for that. The answer to my written question calls the loans accounting system one of the most critical parts of the CBA program. The contracts for this system are worth $23 million. They were never disclosed, and we still don't know how much of this work is being done in Brazil by Accenture subsidiary. Will the government come clean on this for once with Canadians about all aspects of this contract?
Senator Gold.
Well, as I said, I will certainly make inquiries to determine what details are appropriate to share.
Senator Houssakos.
Senator Gold, yesterday listening to you answer questions in regards to the Trudeau carbon tax, it became evidently clear that you think we just don't understand, that we're not as smart as the Trudeau government to understand how the carbon tax works, and that we're exaggerating the impact on the cost of living. Actually, listening to you and the exchange you had with Senator Coyle, it's as simple as Pierre Poilievre has removed his glasses, is smiling, he's been repeating 1,000 times, axe the tax, and he's hypnotized Canadians coast to coast. Well, my question to you is, Senator Gold, premiers that are calling to axe the tax, First Nation organizations that are calling to axe the tax, small businesses that are calling to axe the tax, the farming and agricultural sector that's calling to axe the tax. And if we believe some of the polling, the millions of Canadians that are asking to axe the tax, are all these people stupid and just not as smart as the Trudeau cabinet when it comes to dealing with the carbon tax?
What is up with that? That's a great question.
Senator Gold.
Because I always feel like they think they're smarter than I am.
In any answer have I given to you, have I accused Canadians of not being smart, nor have I ever asserted that this government is smarter than anybody else. What I will simply assert, because it happens to be factual.
Don't assert too much, Gold.
Your leader and your party, I give them credit for being intelligent. And therefore, that's why I have called the consistent invocation of the tax on pollution as the cause of all of the ills, including food prices, misinformation. Your leader knows better. You know better. You have read the independent reports. You have access to the economists who go on, who have at length describe not only the virtues of the tax, but its marginal impact on food. So I'm giving you credit for being intelligent, and I'm saying, and I'm calling you out for misinformation.
Senator Housakos.
I'll call you out for misinformation, because at the end of the day, when we said the carbon tax is just one of the many things your government does that has led to a higher cost of living. Now, since you've acknowledged that our party and our leaders intelligent, in the spirit of Christmas, in order to give some relief to middle class and poor Canadians that are being pummeled by your policy, will you just agree to two things? Pause the carbon tax for 12 months so we actually see what the real impact is. And the second thing, will you invite Senator Marshall and Pierre Poilievre to the next cabinet meeting before a budget's tabled so they can give you some lessons on what a fiscal anchor is? Because that's a second element of your government that's missing. That's cost.
Senator Gold. Senator Housakos, merci. Merci. Senator Gold.
Well, in the spirit of Christmas and transparency, I think, no, it's not for me to invite those to a cabinet meeting. But I should say this. There is a difference, Senator, between being intelligent and being wise. And there's a difference between being intelligent, wise, and responsible.
Where's the wisdom?
And when the government that I represent has a credible climate change policy, it's on the table in details, and you may not agree with it, but I'm sure Canadians are looking forward to hearing what the policy is of the Conservative Party.
Merci, Senator Gold.
Tough to watch, guys. Like,
thank you, Speaker.
not our futures.
Gold,
this is our present.
Once again, I rise to bring attention to the unnecessary challenges facing our best and brightest scientists. Canada struggles to retain top research talent as our postdoc fellowships are not competitive internationally. Every year, we lose about 30% of our PhD graduates into international brain drain. A postdoc fellowship in Canada from one of Canada's tri-councils is actually $45,000 a year. Now, Senators, that's for a PhD who is doing groundbreaking scientific work. We're paying them $45,000 a year. In the United States and Europe, they make 2 or 3 times that. When will the government commit to combating the brain drain of our top talent by investing in our next generation of researchers?
Senator Gold.
Well, thank you, Senator, for your continued advocacy on this. Look, as a former universitaire and recipient of support for my research in an earlier life, I totally understand and applaud your efforts to advocate for more funding. As I've said on more, and I'll repeat again, the government has announced more than $1 billion in support for scientists, researchers, and students through a variety of funding programs. And the government is committed to continue to explore ways in which they can better support this and future generations of researchers and the talent that they bring to our country.
Senator Kutcher.
Thank you for that, Senator Gold. But I just want to raise the reality here and another economic problem. This brain drain of our young PhDs costs our economy at least $740 million a year. $740 million a year in training investments made for them. By simply making postdoc salaries internationally competitive, we can actually help prevent these young scientists from leaving. When will the government actually implement the simple solution?
Senator Gold.
The government has announced funding to support over 5,500 promising students and researchers. It is working within the envelopes that it has available to it. Thankfully, their universities are also doing their part, as is private philanthropy, and of which I've been involved personally to support doctoral students at the Université de Montréal. More needs to be done. The government is doing what it can under the circumstances.
Senator Dean.
Thank you, Speaker. Senator Gold, there's been heightened discussion over the last couple of weeks about this more independent Senate that we all work in, and most recently from our colleague Senator Cormier this morning. You were appointed as an independent senator. You now are the government representative in the Senate and our main interlocutor with the government. As we close out this year, could you share your perspectives on this evolving project? and just give us your year-end reflections.
Interesting
It may not
question,
be the best
right?
time to ask you this, but it's an important question any time. So please, your thoughts.
Senator Gold.
Well, look, I think I am pleased with the work and proud of the work that the Senate has done over this session. It hasn't been an easy session. I'm not always pleased with the votes. I'm not always pleased with the results. But I signed up for this gig, as I've said on other occasions, because I truly believe that the Senate does add value and can add value, but only if it is freed from the kind of control from the center that has characterized it in the past. It's a work in progress. I'm pleased with the growing understanding among senators of what our constitutional role is and isn't. There's still work to be done there. It certainly took me a while and I still remember very much those early days and months.
I kind of like
years.
gold, but
but I'm pleased with the direction that it's going, and I hope that we can continue to add value to Canadians, as I believe we're doing. Thank you.
Senator
he's just really good at what he does.
Let me close this Q&A by thanking you on behalf of all of us in this place for the work that you do every day. And the time and effort that you put into it. I know it takes a toll, but I want you to know that it's deeply appreciated, and we're all grateful for it, so thank you.
Senator Gold. Senator
See how
Osler.
he comes back now.
Thank you, Madam
Gold
Speaker.
is slick, though.
My question is for the government
never
representative in the
underestimate
Senate.
the power of that guy.
In Manitoba, the Southern Chiefs organization is leading Indigenous economic reconciliation and revitalization of downtown Winnipeg through the Wewene Baga Kinagon project. This includes the transformation of the iconic Hudson's Bay building in Winnipeg through partnership with their federal, provincial, and municipal treaty partners. In April 2022, the federal government committed $65 million to the project through the National Housing Strategy and the National Housing Co-Investment Fund. But up to this day, the Southern Chiefs organization has itself financed millions of dollars in pre-construction work while the federal government commitment is still pending. And the rest of the development hangs in place, or hangs in balance. Senator Gold, when will the Southern Chiefs organization receive the committed federal funds in advance of the next stage of this important historical project?
Senator Gold.
She's really well spoken.
Thank you for the question and for bringing this matter to my attention. I confess I was not aware of this, and so I'm grateful for that. I'll certainly make inquiries as quickly as I can in the hope that this, what sounds like an important project, can be realized.
Senator Osler.
Thank you, Senator Gold. The reclamation of the Hudson's Bay building has been called one of the most significant developments for downtown Winnipeg in decades. The Southern Chief Organization's visionary plan will turn it into a space for economic and social reconciliation. The plan includes affordable housing, culturally safe living units for First Nations elders, high-quality licensed childcare, and a health and healing centre. Senator Gold, can the Southern Chiefs Organization count on the federal government as a long-term treaty partner to ensure the success of the project?
Senator Gold.
Well, thank you for the question. I certainly can't answer in terms of long-range partnerships without making the inquiries, but I do undertake to make them with respect.
Senator Francis.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Senator Gold, according to Sherry McKinstry, co-founder of the Indigenous Dental Association of Canada, Métis and non-status First Nation people will benefit the most from the Canadian Dental Care Program. However, for status First Nations people and Inuit eligible for the non-insured health benefits, it may only cover out-of-pocket costs, and those in remote communities may not see much benefits. Given this criticism and current gaps in access, what is your government doing to ensure those eligible under NIHB, including in remote and northern communities, receive equal or better access to dental care?
Senator Gold.
Well, thank you for the question. I mean, there's a number of different aspects to it. I mean, the dental care plan with or without the dental club plan, you still need to live in a community where there's access to the actual services. And that is a problem, as we know, in remote areas and Indigenous, something that needs to be worked on in partnership with Indigenous communities. With regard to the federal programs, look, dental care is health care. Everybody deserves it. The non-insured health benefits program supports First Nations and Inuit communities, which includes coverage for preventative service, treatments, dentures, and orthodontics, and it also includes transportation costs if services aren't available locally. I understand that members of First Nations and Inuit who are eligible under the non-insured health benefits program can apply to the CDCP if they meet the eligibility criteria. In that case, benefits will be coordinated. This would also cover travel costs, as I think I just mentioned. It's an incomplete and inadequate answer, but more work needs to be done.
That's the weird thing. Like, he gives so frank answers.
According to a
sometimes,
2017 report by the Auditor General, First Nations and Inuit have nearly twice as much dental disease and more unmet oral health needs than non-Indigenous populations.
Not a big surprise.
With this background in mind, what is your government doing to ensure that the full rollout of the CDCP does not exacerbate existing disparities in oral health between non-Indigenous people and status First Nations and Inuit?
Senator Gold.
Well, thank you for the question. I think the short answer is that in order for the gap to be closed, there needs to be more services available in more communities and closer to more communities, and that will require funding. That'll also require partnerships with dental schools and communities so that over time, and it will take time, that gap can be closed as it should be.
Senator Carignan.
Senator Carignan.
Who knows, right?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question will be for the Leader of the Government in the Senate.
I love this guy. He's
great.
In
2016,
I don't have any likes or anything.
your government launched
this, so
the National
like
Strategy
away
for
if
Housing
you could. That'd be great.
and announced $83 billion within a national strategy. The objective of the strategy was to reduce homelessness from year to year and to provide affordable housing in good state and housing for inclusion and increasing the results related to housing in different parts of the country year on year. We are approaching the end of the strategy. We are about 24 months away, but we are seeing complete, total, and disastrous failure of the strategy. Does the government admit that the strategy of spending $83 billion has been a total failure, Senator Gold?
$83 billion.
The answer is no.
A failure. Like, how could... Oh, man.
It is absolutely true that we have
big.
a housing crisis, and it is absolutely true that Canadians of all ages, but especially the younger generations, those younger than us, are having a hard time finding housing and losing hope of finding housing. But your question doesn't take into account everything that's been done from 2016 to today, including the pandemic, including the wars that impacted supply chains. So the government made an effort in the budget, in the fall economic statement, and in the bill that we just adopted to help Canadians, and will continue to do so. Senator Carignan. Well, $83 billion from your government hasn't really helped. So how many units of housing are you going to create from the Sears catalog?
It's pretty great.
That the $83 billion did not suffice to fix. As I said yesterday,
he'll be defensive this time.
I actually quoted the wrong number, but we saw this in Press Plus. So this is just one element among many to help accelerate, build new housing.
No answer there, though. Like his
My question
was
to the government
very
leader
direct.
also has to do with the CEBA loans program for small businesses. In the Globe and Mail article this morning, Accenture told the reporter to ask the government for more information about the contracts. However, in the same article, Minister Freeland's office washed its hands of this matter, said it wasn't involved, and refused to provide further information. Leader, this is one of the largest contracts the Government of Canada has ever signed with external consultants, at least $208 million in taxpayers' dollars. Where is the accountability for the CEBA loans program?
Senator.
I think as I've said on many occasions, the CEBA loans program was an important element in helping Canadians get through this the crisis, which we did, and in that regard, the follow-up in the review and all of that are being done appropriately and seriously to make sure that the program, which we knew was rushed, and by design to benefit Canadians, that we have a full understanding and analysis of all that happened, and that is what's in play.
Senator Martin.
Well, in terms of accountability, it seems there is no accountability under the Trudeau government. Leader, when did Minister Freeland and Minister Ng become aware that CEBA work was being done in Brazil? Did they find out just through the Globe and Mail, or did they always know? And how is your government safeguarding the financial information of Canadian small businesses for the CEBA work being outsourced in Brazil?
Senator Gold.
I'm not aware of the details at all of that you ask in your question. I have every confidence that the government is addressing this matter properly and in accordance with the terms of the contracts that they have awarded.
Senator Omivar.
Thank you, Chair.
Omivar is going to be asking
Senator Gold,
about
yesterday
Iran.
the Auditor General appeared before the Social Affairs Committee and informed us about her audit of certain departments and disclosed to us that a 2018 commitment by IRCC to look at its capacity has not been completed and is therefore severely impacting processing times. For example, the Auditor General compared two offices, one in Italy, the other in Tanzania, that have roughly the same number of employees. Tanzania, however, receives 5 times the number of applications, and yet they have the same number of employees as Rome. So it's only natural to expect the outcome. A file that gets routed to the Tanzanian office will sit in a backlog for far longer than a file in Rome. This is, in my view, a perfect expression of institutional discrimination. So when will the government follow through with that commitment and reallocate resources to deal with backlogs in spots?
Senator Gold.
I don't know what to think of this lady.
Thank you for your question.
Jury's still
It is
out on
true
that
although it is true that all applications are subjected to the same criteria, regardless of the country, it is also true that depending on the nature of the applications, they may or may not take longer or shorter. And of this, I don't have I don't have the ability or knowledge of how to compare applications in Rome to those in Tanzania. The question of how many human resources can be deployed in any given office is also a matter of which I imagine there are factors beyond simply a stroke of the pen in the PMO or the appropriate. Sorry, not in PMO, in the government. And so I'll have to make some inquiries to see. But I can. I understand that the government is continually monitoring.
Stuttering a lot. Stammering.
Thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Move on.
Thank you, Senator Gold, for following up on that. The Auditor General also found that the average waiting time for privately sponsored refugees is 13 months. This is a program that Canada is rightfully proud of. It talks about it on the world stage. It is engaged in replicating it in different parts of the world. It sets us apart. So why the long waiting time? Should we not do better than 13 months, Senator Gold?
Senator Gold.
It's a good question because,
well, Canada.
I don't know.
We have a global
crisis,
as we know, with this.
We've been taking in a lot of immigrants. Like the evidence is here.
The government's goal is to process 80% of all applications within the appropriate service standards, and that the IRCC is continuing to work to reduce its backlogs by digitizing applications, hiring new staff, and using technologies to improve their ability to process.
Yeah, so I don't know about that part. Like, there seems to be a lot more new people, and I like those people. They're nice, they're hard workers.
There are still senators here that believe they should do their job, but we as an official opposition should not do ours. Senator Gold, my next question concerns an answer to a written question recently tabled in the other place. It shows that dozens of social media influencers received a total of $680,000 over the last 2 years to express support for government programs, without disclosing that they were paid by the Trudeau government to do so. Leader, I have a question on the Senate order paper asking for similar information regarding payments to these so-called influencers. It has sat there unanswered since March 30th of 2021. Leader, why has the House question answered while mine has not? It's been over 2.5 years, Senator Gold. Where is the answer? Are you again going to say it's my fault for not reminding you like you did yesterday?
Senator
Gold.
Stop.
That's great. Let's see.
That's not exactly what I said yesterday, but I think the short answer
to your question... What exactly did you say then?
The short answer to your question is, as I've mentioned in this House before, the House has a rule that requires the government, whether it likes it or not, whether it likes the question or the questioner, to respond within, I believe it's 45 days. We have no such rule. I have suggested in this chamber that the Rules Committee take a look at granting us an equivalent rule. It's no fun for the government representative in the Senate to stand up here and be reminded that questions have not been responded to over that period of time. It is in my interest and the interest of this Senate to have those answers in a more timely fashion, whether we like the answers or not. So again, I encourage our committee to take a serious look at that, and we would be pleased to be part of that process.
You've got to respect
so unless you're forced to answer, you won't answer. That's what you're saying. Why don't you answer voluntarily? Why does the Rules Committee have to force you to answer?
Awesome.
Leader, you've thrown around words of misinformation and disinformation a whole lot lately. Why do you call the Trudeau government paying a lot of money to influencers to promote your government without requiring them to disclose that information to their social media follows? If that's not misinformation or disinformation, Senator Gold, then what is?
I think Donald Plett's going to get his first
disinformation and misinformation on that. Is saying something knowing that it is incorrect, and I will not refrain from characterizing statements that are made in this chamber from whatever source when it is clear that they are not based upon facts, objective facts, validated by third parties.
Senator Cotter.
My question is for the government representative in the Senate. Senator Gold, it concerns the Canada Disability Benefit, something I raised a couple of months ago. We were about halfway through the time for the implementation of the benefit based on the minister's signal, I would say, commitment toward it being in place within a year, but there's largely radio silence. I haven't received an answer to my question, admittedly, only a couple of months ago, but more importantly, hundreds of thousands of working-age people with disabilities and many hundreds of thousands in need are also waiting. Are you in a position to give us some holiday news of hope for these people? Thank you.
Little holiday
Senator Gold.
Goodwill.
I wish I were.
Some good news?
Because it's an important program and an important benefit, important framework legislation that we studied. But alas, I don't have information about that, but I certainly will use my best efforts to encourage those responsible for putting the program in place to finish the work and to get it in place.
Senator Cotter.
I wouldn't have asked a supplementary, Senator Gold, but I don't think encourage is good enough. We still operate under the principle of supremacy of Parliament, where we tell the executive what to do. We passed a law unanimously requiring the executive to deliver this benefit expeditiously. Can we count on that happening?
Well, this government will respect its legal obligations as all governments should do, and we expect them to do.
Senator Martin.
Leader, a peer-reviewed study published in January looked into the rate of child hospitalizations from cannabis poisoning in 4 provinces between January 2015 and September 2021. It showed that cannabis poisonings in children aged 9 and younger were more than double in Ontario, Alberta, and British Columbia, where cannabis edibles are permitted, as compared to Quebec, where edibles in the shape of candies, chocolates, or desserts are prohibited. According to this study, the average age of children hospitalized was just 3.5 years old. Leader, since this study was released, what has your government done to better protect small children from accidental cannabis poisoning, particularly from edibles?
Not going to try to take away from this point, but like, if your kids are getting into gummies and they're 3.5 years old, that's just poor parenting.
Passed to decriminalize the possession of small amounts for personal use, made it very clear of the safety requirements for the packaging and distribution, and that is within federal jurisdiction. But as your question properly notes, each province has taken a different approach, whether it's to how cannabis products are sold, whether through private stores or through government stores, and of course what products can be sold. And it is important that the provinces who are responsible for determining whether edibles or what kind of edibles can be sold do their part as well to ensure that they don't get into the hands of young people. And it's also families' responsibilities, if they're buying for their own, to store their products in safe and secure places. It is dangerous for young children to take doses of cannabis to which they're not accustomed.
Senator Martin.
Well, at the start of this study, before cannabis was legalized, an average of 3 children per month were being hospitalized for cannabis poisoning. By the end of the study, it was an average of 17 children per month.
That's a
when
problem,
Minister Gold
but that's
was in Senate question period a year and a half ago, she said the Trudeau government needed to do better at educating adults and parents. What specifically has been done on this front since then?
Don't let your 3.5-year-old eat a bunch of gummies.
I don't know specifically
whether they're cannabis-induced or not.
Programs may be ongoing,
weird
and
issue.
what the federal involvement in that
don't like
is.
this one being
from
brought up
day
here.
one, as we know in this chamber from our debates, the federal government has taken its responsibilities seriously to educate Canadians about the risks associated with inappropriate cannabis use.
Le temps alloué à la période de questions est écoulé.
Time for the question period has expired.
Ken Benson.
Honourable Senators, I have the honour to table the answer to the following written question.
So, that's question period from the Senate from December 15th, which I think does kind of shut down Parliament. I don't know what we're going to do for the next 5 or 6 weeks. We'll be figuring it out. Like, I'm kind of excited because I have ideas on new things to try. Because this is what I've realized, is that I'm just like you. I'm a Canadian that's concerned and a voter, and was floating along until like the end of September, not paying attention to Canadian politics at all. But I've started to pay attention, and I think that if other Canadians could see the stuff that I'm seeing, they can make up their own minds. I trust their judgment. And if they think it's okay, then fine. But I would like to have those people see the things that are happening to be like, I think Karina Gold does have an alien baby and she is acting out of hand, or that CHYSTIA FREELAND possibly is a witch and will not answer a straight question without trying to put Ukraine in front of the issues that Canadians have. That's what we'll be working on now, is like getting some information out. It is so much fun hanging out here. I really feel like I've connected with some people, and I think they're the same as me, like not so like right wing or something like that. It's just that it's obvious that a change is necessary, because this government is going to put us in the ground with the direction I think they're taking. Like, and they show no relenting on what their plan is. It's to tax carbon until we can't afford groceries. And then what? Maybe then when you can't afford any groceries, eating a bug might be appealing if you're that hungry. I don't know. I don't ever want to get that hungry. I can't afford McDonald's. Like, for a treat, I know McDonald's is not a food that you should eat very often. I'm skinny as hell. Like, I weigh 138 pounds. I'm 5'10". Like, times are tough, and I think that if Canadians only knew why that is, and I'm just catching on, I don't have the answers, but I do have the questions, and we'll be sharing those through Question Period Canada. We have fun here with Canadian politics as we learn, educate ourselves, and try to spread some of that information out to others without, like, hovering over, like, well, what do you think? Look at the information, make your decision based on that. I'm Aaron. We're having a great time with Canadian federal politics here. It's been a blast. I love this group. It's great. We've started a community forum if you want to participate in that. We're trying some new things with the look and everything, because we do have a lot of time before Parliament gets busy again. And we'll be busy trying to make it better to get the information out. That's it. Have a great evening. It's Sunday, Monday coming. I'm Aaron. Like and subscribe, share, tell somebody that you know cares about politics too and would like a different a viewpoint. Because I'll tell you this, I'm not trying to fool anybody. I'm trying to learn. And the things that I'm learning, I am pretty damn sure that other Canadians would want to know about. I had my head in the sand. It's out of the sand. We're, looking at the future and what is going on. That's it. Stay warm. Have something to eat. We'll catch you next video. There's more coming. We'll have shorts coming out this evening. And I think maybe we're going to try a video about how upset the NDP seems to be with itself. I think that'll be fun. Anyhow, catch you later.